Hello, my name is Owen, and welcome to another monthly wrap-up. This one for September of 2024. Another month of 2024, here and gone. We don't get those days back, guys. They're gone. And if we learned anything from the Great Gatsby, you can't repeat the past. But that's okay, because we set a very ambitious goal for September 2024. Some would say the most ambitious goal we've ever set. I said that. We had a lot we wanted to accomplish, and were we up to snuff? I know what people say. People say I'm the king of unfulfilled promises, but this time the throne sits empty because, dare I say, I did everything I set out to do. That's right. We finished 4 books this month, those being Mordew, which is our book of the month. We read The Poppy War. That's book 1 of that series. Is it the Poppy War series? I don't even know. I read The Poppy War, though. Then we read The Way of Kings. It's a part of our Stormlight reread. And then we also finished A Little Life. Just yesteryear, the last day of the month, September 30th, we got that done. I'm recording this on the 1st of the month, by the way. Okay? I know what you're saying, yesteryear is October 1st. Not true. Not true, they say, because I filmed things in the past, and when you see them, this is me from the past. Because remember, you're always watching things not in the context of when they come out, but when they were recorded. I could be completely different when this video comes out than the version of me that you're seeing right now. Just something to remind you, like when you're talking about the internet, people like to talk about parasocial relationships, but they don't talk about temporal relationships, in that the version of that you're seeing of celebrities when they're in your favorite film or when you're seeing them in a press interview, it's them from a time in which is not current. So it's something to think about, guys. Did anybody actually consider that? What is Chris Hemsworth really like? We only see him on like a couple day delay. I don't know. It's just something that came to me in this moment. Something we got to put in the back burner. Maybe we'll revisit that in a future video, because I think it's a very interesting topic, right? Even in real life, you could say the delay of the light hitting your eyes or the sound waves hitting your ears. Do we really know anyone in the moment? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But back to the focus. Back to the topic on hand. 4 books this month. All very long books, all over 500-page books. We read a whopping 3,023 pages this month, which, in case you were keeping track, which I know I am, I don't think anybody else is almost double what we read in August in terms of page count, and almost 1,000 pages more than our second highest in the month, which I think was like earlier in the year, like maybe February or March, when we were really cruising. So we read. It wasn't the most books we completed a month, but by far the most pages read. And in some ways, that's a more reliable metric, right? Because some people, you could just knock out 1,000 short stories. It's like, did you read 1,000 books this year? I don't know. It's a discussion that also needs to be put on the shelf for a later date. But 3,023 pages. It was an impressive amount. And I know what you're thinking. Owen, you're burnt out. You're going to be slow in October. The Stormlight rereads in the dust. You're wrong. I've never felt more energized. I kept a very healthy pace. I felt like I was reading for hours and hours every single day. There were some days in which I was binging. When I read A Little Life, I kind of condensed it into the last weekend of September, which was an interesting way to read this book. I'll talk about it in my review, which will be coming out shortly. It didn't detract from the experience, if that's what you're thinking, but it was an interesting way to read the book for sure, considering its tone and the way it makes you feel while you're reading it. But anyway, I digress. I didn't feel like I was overextending myself, and I guess we'll go through these book by book. So Mordew is our book of the month. The review's on the channel. It was an interesting read, very unique in its tone, in its world building, in its style, I feel like. I didn't love the story. I didn't love how it ended. It's not one. I know there's a sequel. I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I know Bibliomanic said that I would hate it, which only intrigues me. But I'm probably not going to, just because it was an enjoyable experience, didn't love it, right? And then Poppy War, if you guys didn't see that video, I encourage you to check it out. I really did not like that book. I didn't really think there was a lot of redeeming elements to it. There were some ways the plot was going in the first half of that book where I was really on board with it. I liked the direction and the thought-provoking questions it was asking. The way it answered them inside the book in the second half of the book, I thought was quite dumb, and I thought all the characters, they just kind of went off the rails for me. So really not a book for me. Will not be continuing that series. Have probably less than no interest. I have negative interest. I have interest in purposely avoiding those books in the future. okay? Just wasn't for me, okay? I'm really neutral about it. I don't really feel very strongly about it. Moving forward, we did, or I guess moving backward, because technically I finished this before Poppy War. We did Way of Kings into the first of our Stormlight reread. A lot of you guys were thinking that's not possible. They're too long of a books. And I will say, rereading Stormlight is a lot easier than reading it the first time. I was breezing through those 1,000 pages. A lot of it like comes back to me as I read it. But like I said in that review retrospection, I guess, of like, is The Way of Kings great? Is it what I titled the video? There was some of the specific plot events completely lost to my brain. It's been so many years since I read it. So that was kind of fun to re-experience those emotions. And I just think, like, obviously people talk about like the Sanderlanche, like his climaxes and everything coming together. Still very, very fun to read, even though I know the general plot events because I read them before. Still very, very fun to read, great conclusions, and it just lets you speed through those last 200 pages. So it was 1,000-page books, and it did feel like it was long, but it didn't feel like it was 1,000 pages long. Whereas a book like Little Life, which was a little bit denser, it's a little bit more dark in its content and subject matter, I really felt these 800 pages, and not necessarily in an all negative way. Again, I'll talk about it more in detail in my review. But Stormlight, I feel like, is not, at least Way of Kings, because it's so solidly written and it's very fast-paced, very simple prose. It's not a book that feels like it's its length, whereas something that's maybe a little bit more densely written, you kind of feel its length more. So I feel more encouraged that I could actually get the Stormlight reread done in future months. We did very, very minusculely start Words of Radiance in September. I think we read like fifth, or who's we? It's me. It's always been me. I made that joke last month. But it's true. Like, who is we? Okay? We're not all doing this together. You guys are just watching me, okay? I'm stuck in my own box. Let me out. Let me out. We read like 50 pages. I'm just going to keep saying we. I am losing it. I'm losing it today. I got to focus. 50 pages is what we read. So we add that to the total of the 3,000 because we got a kind of a jump start into Words of Radiance, because eventually one of these months I'm going to need to read 2 Stormlight books in 1 month, or maybe it's like really fit into the first like 10 days of December if I want to read it right when it's released. I'm probably not going to read the new one right when it releases. What's wrong with you? You don't pre-order books you've never done before in your life. I'll probably wait till Christmas, then just read it after Christmas. So I got all of December to read the last book. So I talked myself out of it. We don't need to double up. So we're on pace. Woo! We did it. But overall, very, very enjoyable reading month, even though I didn't love all the books. There wasn't a point of popular, even though like that was my least favorite book of the month. There wasn't a point when I was reading that when I'm like, this is the worst, I'm wasting my time. It's not that kind of bad book. It's just more like I just didn't really enjoy it, you know? And I was reading it with some friends, so that kind of made up for it too. So overall, it was a great reading month, and I really did enjoy it. But there was one downside to this month. There was thing I did say I wanted to get to, but I didn't get to. Obviously, you know, the forgotten child of the channel, it was my Malazan reread. We didn't get to part 2 at all this month. That being said, without spoiling the what I'll be reading in October video, this is a priority. So this will be one of the first things that we get out of the way. And then we got some other books that I'll reveal in that video, but Malazan is a priority for the month of October. I said in my looking forward video for September that like I didn't know if I'd get to it or finish it all the way. We just didn't even try. We were too close to the end of the month and Little Life was not finished. I just had to power through there. So keep an eye out for this review. This will be a very good review. I got a lot of thoughts about it. I think it's a very interesting book to discuss, and I know a lot of people have strong feelings about it, which I think is interesting as well. So keep an eye out for that video. Keep an eye out for what we're reading in October video. And all of a sudden, guys, October will soon be done because I'll be doing reviews of the books that I'm reading in that, and then a part 2 of Malazan, and then it's the end of October, it's November, and then it's December, and then it's 2025, and then it's the heat death of the universe. And we wonder, did it even matter at all? But let me just tell you right here, it matters. And you matter, okay? Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video and you want to see more like it in the future. I know I do. Thanks for sticking around.